Is that
So,
okay?
no, that's fine, you can leave it there.
Sure.
That's fine. So RYLA, how many people in the room actually know about RYLA?
1, 2.
Okay, so this is not unusual, this is a good reason why I'm here. So RYLA stands for Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. And, just get that. Oops. There we go.
Time presentation.
It's a little bit slow. So, so what does that mean? I mean, are we giving out awards? Are we giving out awards to youth? What RYLA is it's part of it's a leadership and team building program, youth program that targets high school juniors, and it's in our district 5150 in the 3 counties. So District 5150 is comprised of our 3 counties. So that's Marin, San Francisco, and also San Mateo down to Woodside. Okay, there are 42 clubs in these 3 counties. There are about 850 Rotarians as members in these 3 counties. This program, RYLA, is an official Rotary International program. So it's been ongoing for a long time as part of Rotary International. And most districts have a RYLA program. So 5170, 5160, 5130, north of us, all have RYLA programs. And throughout the country, so all different states. And they do vary. I'll talk a little bit more about that. Our program is a weekend program, but other districts will have it for a whole week. When I talk to you about a little bit about what goes into planning this, you'll understand why it's only 3 days in our district and not a whole week. And the program is supported by the clubs in District 5150. So the only funds that we have for this program come from clubs. This is a picture from last year, and if you can find me in this, you'll get a prize.
Where am I?
Did you find me?
Yeah, right there. You're in the blue coat.
I mean, I actually came in with my blue coat today. I was hoping
You're on the left.
It was, yeah. So here I am, and in my well, there I was wearing sneakers. Usually the sneakers, boots, and that's the outfit for the weekend. As you can see, I have my RYLA badge here. We all get our RYLA badges. I have my RYLA necklace. The kids make this as part of a team building exercise. I have my RYLA shirt. So I'm all garbed in everything RYLA. But what you see here, some of you may recognize David Dye.
Yes.
You know David Dye, who was the chair of the youth services for our district now. And there are some other, Danielle Lennox, you might know her. And there are some other, but the rest, as you can see in the green, those are all the campers, those are the students. And then we have, and I'll talk about this, the students come back after they've been campers and they come back in leadership roles, be involved with the program. We call those alums, and a lot of those they're down here in the front. You can feel the enthusiasm of the students, the feelings that the students have by participating is so captured in this statement here. And they say, RYLA is where I felt human. Because of this weekend experience is life-changing for the students. So just a little bit of history on RYLA it started in 1985 in District 5150. It's been going on before that in other districts. And it was started by the Rotary Club number 2 in San Francisco that decided, gee, we want to have some kind of camp, team building, leadership camp. And so they started, it's known as Camp Enterprise. And then about 20 years later, the district decided, rather than just having it the number 2 program, to really spread it around. And that's when all the clubs became involved with this. And about nearly 3,000 students have been served. And this past year, which is 2017, we had the largest number of students apply to the program. I'm going to talk a little bit about the process in a minute. We had 225 students apply for the program. That's huge. Usually we had about 100, 120, and we did a real blitz because we wanted to reach out to the students in the different high schools in the 3 counties. Our target was 120. Well, in order to get 120 of the 225, we accepted 150 because of the attrition. And then we ended up, because we accepted the 120, and then in the last minute there are students who say, gee, I have to study for an exam, I need to go to the movies, whatever the reason is. Those have different reasons. I forgot I had a prom. And we ended up with 112 students. They were 11th graders, some of them 10th. And then in addition, we had 18 alums. Again, these are kids who were campers and then they come back in a leadership role. So we ended up serving 130 students this past year. Our target for 2018 is to accept 150 students. And again, that means we'll have to have a pool of in excess of 200 for that purpose. This year, the camp is going to be April 20th to 2018. So, it seems, I think, as Gloria well pointed out, people say, okay, well, there's this program, this weekend program for team building and leadership for the students, and, it just kind of happens. Well, it doesn't just happen. It takes a tremendous amount of effort, and it's all put on by volunteers. There's no paid staff. Just by my own experience is that I actually first started, I've been back here in San Francisco for 5 years. Before that, I was in North Carolina, eastern part of the state. Anyone been to North Carolina? Okay. All right, so I was in the eastern part of the state, very rural part of the state. It's on the water there. It's on a river and then the Sound out to the Outer Banks and then out to the Atlantic. And I joined Rotary there. About 8 years ago, I joined Rotary, and because of my, actually I enjoy working with high school students. I like that age. I think there's so much opportunity with teenagers to move them in the right direction. I got involved with RYLA there, and I went in as a counselor. And that was my initial experience. When I moved back to San Francisco, I then volunteered again. It's so great as RYLA, volunteered again as a counselor, and then got involved in doing some more of the organizational aspect of it. But what I saw that it takes so much planning to put this together. It's like putting on you know what it's like to put on a fundraiser, right? Well, this is kind of a fundraiser on steroids because you have so many different parts of it going on. And the other thing, you're involving youth, and there's a tremendous responsibility that goes along with that. So there's a lot of planning that goes on. And so we have a steering committee, a core group planning committee, and the who part of it is who are the people. And the people who are involved in doing this are Rotarians in the 3 counties. I mean, it's not just San Francisco, it's not just Marin, San Mateo also. So in the 3 counties, and actually Larry and I know each other because through the steering committee, Larry actually was a counselor at the camp, and then got involved with the steering committee. And again, we would never know each other, but for this activity. So different Rotarian.
Right? You don't regret it.
I don't. I'll discuss that later. So it's different Rotarians who also have an interest in youth, and I know there are a few of you who are involved with the youth committee, certainly. I know that you may be involved. Just are interested in and believe in this program, a leadership and team building program for our youth in our 3 counties. And so the what part of it is really, what do we do? What do we do? We actually, we start our planning about 11 months out. We have monthly meetings, usually in the evening. We try to pick a central place, and we get together and we start planning. Now you might think, well, you've done this before. Why don't you just do it the same way? You've done it every year. Well, things change. Youth change. Technology changes. And also we're always trying to see if we can improve the program. And also we want to reach out to more students. That's the idea of it. We're not happy if we have 80 kids in Marin apply and we have, 100 kids from San Mateo. Okay, because what happened to San Francisco? We're not serving our 3 counties. So, there's a lot of effort that's made in order to try to get that representation. So again, when we meet, we just do it monthly. We have some subcommittees now that are starting. My own involvement, again, I was the chair, the director. It's no big fancy title. I just sort of said, okay, we need somebody to organize it, and then because of timing, I did it last year. Somebody else is doing it this year. Lynn Luckow, the number 2 club, has stepped in because I have some other responsibilities with the upcoming district governor role in a couple of years. What is involved? There are a lot of different committees, but we obviously have to have an administration, organization, programming. Again, we look at what worked last year, what didn't. We found that on Sunday we have a community service component where the students come together to do some kind of planning for community service when they go back to their communities. And that wasn't as strong as we would like, so we'll rethink it. Basically what the program is, again, is team building and leadership. So we have different activities for the students to develop working together as a group, and then being able to execute on this. Okay? So as adults, think about it in your work situations. How many of you have been in a situation where you have a meeting, you're sitting around, you have to plan something, and you have all different personalities involved, right? The people who talk too much, the people who say nothing, the people who are, like prancing around. So what they learn, what they do is interesting. The way they do it is, we do have a speaker that comes in. His name is Mike Wall. She's a kind of a coach type of person, motivational speaker. What he does with the kids, and he's able to get to do something that they understand, identifies what type of animal are they. Are they a lion? The lion is the one who's going to take charge, right? Are they an owl personality? Are they the person who kind of sits back, doesn't say anything? I have to analyze this before I say anything. I have to think about this a few times. Okay, that person. Then there's the person who's the koala. The person who's the koala is like, can't we just all get along? Right? Can't we just get along? Let's get along. And then there's the peacock, right? What's the peacock doing? Look at me, right? So what they learn is that, when you're in a group, and I know it, I've been in groups of, certainly with work and certainly in Rotary, where you have these people, everyone wants to come together for a common goal, right? But when you have all this different personalities involved, you need to know how to harness that. So what they are learning is, and it's interesting, when you see them then in a group, let's say when they're planning the community service project on Sunday, on the last day, what will happen is, let's say we have this as a group, and so you walk around and you say, so let's say Larry is a lion and Tina's a lion, and so they're great, they're planning everything, and everybody else is sitting, right, not doing anything. And what they learn is that's not good. I mean, that's not working as a team. So they need to learn to step back and then let the others participate as well. And it may seem like a small thing and something that you say, well, isn't that obvious? But for youth who often will have conflicts with others and feel left out or sensitive at that age, it is eye-opening for them to learn that it's great to be aligned. I mean, have that strength and that leadership, but you're going to be by yourself, and you won't be able to get anything done. So that's an example of the type of kind of aha moments that the students have. That I have to look at myself, understand myself, in order to be able to work with other people for a common purpose. And if you think about that in Rotary, I mean, we're just doing that all the time, right? Isn't that what we do? And we don't have to think about it. And in your club, it seems you have a lot of people. It's like in my club, people get along and they kind of understand that, and they put aside their differences. And but for the students, this is a very big thing. So programming, that's part of programming. What sort of programs are we going to have in order to be able to have the students reach that ability to understand their leadership style, and then also be able to work with others for a common purpose. We have a treasurer, obviously, as part of the steering committee. We work off of a budget. So the amount of, we ask the clubs to do a pledge, and when you, let's say, I think you have pledged, I think, two sponsorships, right? So we put that in. We know that we're going to get $750 from your club, and that is then part of our budget. So we budget, if we have X amount of money, we can only accept X amount of students. And that's what's driven. It's not like we go accept the students and say, oh, do we have enough money? We work very strictly off of that. And everything, there's a budget, what are we going to have for supplies, what are we going to have, every single item, for all this stuff, the swag, and the snacks at the camp, and all those sorts of things, transportation. The other is, we have a Facebook website, camper recruitment, reaching out to the schools, school outreach, the alum program. We have a training, so for the kids who come back in leadership roles, we don't just say, here, go do something. We actually run them through training. We have the counselors who volunteer, and they also go through training, because we have, some of our counselors maybe, they don't have kids. They've never dealt with kids. They've never taught. So they need some, training. How do you deal with youth, and especially when different issues might come up. They're just the logistics at the camp itself, transportation, getting the kids down to the camp, which is in Scotts Valley. Also, we have handbooks that we give out to the campers. So we use paper for that because they can carry them around. We don't allow any phones there. So we have handbooks for the counselors. We have handbooks for the students that have to be put together. There's supplies, there's club presentations, club sponsorships, and database, and a lot more. So all those tasks are assigned to different, not assigned, but people volunteer to do, depending upon what particularly interests them. So, what is the goal? We're teaching youth how to engage positively in their communities. We're teaching them to be leaders in their schools and to learn about themselves so they can work with others for a common purpose and respect others' differences. And we all know, because we've been around, that all these things are just critical to having a successful life. And also ultimately to share in the value of Rotarians, become Rotarians, and have that in mind, of doing good in the world. And that it's not just all about them, and there's something that they can give back to others as they move ahead. So, here are just some of the students. Often with the talks, I like to actually bring one of the students. It was hard to get somebody at this early time in the morning. so that's. But that is something that I have done that before on occasion. So what can you do in your Rotary Club? I know you don't have an Interact Club at a school that you're associated with, but you might have. I have contacts through other activities of identifying students, and again, our target is the 11th grader at high schools that can apply for RYLA. Okay, so as long as they are in San Mateo County, actually, it doesn't even have to be somebody who's right in your immediate area. San Mateo County, they can apply. If it interests you to participate as a counselor, we have counselors. We have young counselors. They're in their 20s, and we have mature counselors. Larry's been a counselor, and You've enjoyed it, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it more. He came with the first year, remember? He came back second year.
Well, my daughter did this a little while ago, changed her whole life, so
Yep.
I had exposure to it.
Yeah, so 3 years you've been
Been
counseling?
3 years now.
Right, so we, I mean, and actually what we want a range. I mean, we don't want, you know, everyone to be, you know, 26 years old. It's good, it's good. And then sponsoring students, and you do that already. We thank you very much. The other thing is to visit. You're not that far from Scotts Valley, so over that weekend, you're welcome to come down on a Saturday. It starts Friday, the students get there about noon on Friday, and they're engaged in different programs. On Saturday, there are some more programs, team building programs, and Sunday. So you're welcome to come down and visit. And visit the camp, and it can give you an idea about what's going on, especially those of you involved with the youth services. But everyone is welcome to participate. The dates this year, April 20th to 28th,
22.
and 20 to 22nd. God, thank God it's a 28th. And it's Salvation Army Redwood Glen Camp. Anyone familiar with that location? It's down there. Yeah, it is a fabulous venue for us. This is our, I think this is 3 years that we've been there. And it's, you know, very nice cabins for the students. And, you know, it's a very nice facility. And again, the club sponsorship amount is that. So finally, I'll just say that the alums are really the best example of what the RYLA experience is. They come back, you know, they're campers, and then they want more, and they come back. And it's really for further leadership. And I expect great things from these kids as they go forward. And hopefully they'll be involved as Rotaractors in college and then Rotarians. Thank you.
Both my two kids went through, and so it was, you know, they go away as, you know, teenagers, and they come back, I don't know, Larry, your daughter, they came back a different person in terms of, you know, self-confidence, the ability to work with others of, you know, different abilities and different, you know, backgrounds. At theirs, their group was called a tribe, and I don't know how yours is.
We call them families.
Families, okay,
We
so
call
they
them
had tribes, and they still connect with those people from that tribe, because I think some of the exercises were probably talking about themselves, talking about their strengths, their weaknesses, that sort of thing. And it became really personal for them, because that really became their family, and they still keep in touch with them today. So.
And one thing just in closing is we have a lot of great programs in the district. I think what is so moving for me is seeing that we contributed $375 is not a lot of money, you know, to give, but we're able to have, I'm sorry, keep moving. It's such a direct impact that you can see. It's visible, it's palpable, and it's sustainable. I mean, it goes on. I mean, they don't just go home and say, oh, I went through this experience. It does change their lives, and I think that's what we want to do. We want to really make a positive impact on our youth. And I say our because, you know, in our district, it's really all for all of us. So thank you so much. I have a RYLA flashlight, so the kids, the alums had this thing where everyone did a flashlight at night, and you know, so that's for you.
Oh, I get a pin.
Yes. Yeah, you'll do it later. We'll do it later. Okay.
Thank you so much. She'll stay for a few minutes after if anybody wants to talk a little bit more about print brochures or anything.
No
Okay,
brochures.
maybe we'll get the link out to the group, and so you guys can look into it.